My name is Rishit. Today is the 26th of November 2023, and I'm going to be going over my weekly prediction for SPY. As usual, we'll go over the monthly, weekly, and finally the daily charts, and then switch over to the Excel sheet where we will discuss last week's prediction and whether that made any profits or losses, and of course go over this week's prediction with the added analysis of option chains to see if they help define our supports and resistances and give us any signals as well. So let's get straight into this, but before doing so, it's important to make the disclaimer that all information in this video is completely educational, and therefore it is important to know that you should conduct your own technical analysis before entering any position in the market in order to avoid unnecessary risks and possible losses. On that note, let's start. So, monthly charts, we can see that in August, September, and October, we had 3 consecutive red candle months, and the month of September had a large red body, and then we can see that October and August, had spinning top candle formations, and this one actually was a bullish signal from the start. So we did expect this downward movement in September, but this was again largely caused because of reports and stuff like that coming in. But here we have another spinning top candle, and I did mention when the last month was ending that this month's candle can determine whether this is a reversal or not. And obviously we can't predict on it yet, but we can see that the market has had a very strong bullish reaction this month, and we can see that the RSI did briefly drop below its average, and then it has just crossed it like anything. So we did have a bullish signal somewhere along the month, which would have been capitalized on. One thing to note, however, is that the volume this month is relatively lower, and it's actually quite low compared to previous months. Although we have to wait for this month to close, this is something to be aware of when moving forward with monthly positions. But all we can gain from the monthly charts is that if this month closes bullishly, then we have a bullish signal in the form of a candlestick pattern, which when it closes I will discuss, but as of now we don't have much from the monthly charts. But let's switch over to the weekly charts. Now we can see this price action in a lot more detail. We can see when the reports came out for SPX companies, we can see that the market just crashed down, and then we saw the 30th October's week go up like anything, and then we had these 2 weeks of course which were bullish as well, and now this week had a green candle. However, it had it on very low volume. We can see that the volume has been steadily declining across these candles, so we have a divergence of sorts, and that's why we're going to be extra safe this week. And immediately we can gauge that my support and resistance is going to be 459.42 and 450.70. And we are being a lot more conservative this week, since considering the size of the candles and the volume, there is no risk in being safe. So we are taking a 1% margin approximately on either side, just to avoid any possible whipsaws. Although the RSI has been soaring upwards, there is the volume decline which we have to take into consideration. And if we look into the daily charts, we can see this in ever more detail. Now, we can see there was a gap up which hadn't been filled, and then we had a red doji candle. Now, red doji candle, then we can see we had little body, except for this day, which is the 20th of November. Every single candle here was either a doji or a spinning top. And then the last candle as well, there is no real strong price movement throughout the week, and that's why we're going to be safe. And that's why our range this time is pretty large. It's a 10-point range. It's around a 2.5% range. So we are going to be extra safe because the volume has been declining. Even throughout the daily charts, we see here it peaked and then has just been going down considerably. So we are going to be extra safe. And another thing to consider is that the RSI is now in the overbought region. So there is a good possibility that it just jumps back downwards. So we have to be wary of that as well. And that's why the support and resistance are pretty much equidistant from the current spot price, and we are going to be extra safe this week. We can see that last week we had a buy signal on the 21st of November 2023, and with a entry price of 453.18 and a quantity of 245, giving us a market exposure of 111,029.1 US dollars, and our exit price was 455.3, giving us a total profit of 519.4. And then our closing balance is 830.76. Now, for this week, we have a no trade yet. We wait for the breakout, which is We buy when it crosses the high, or the resistance in this case, at 459.42. We sell when it falls below the support at 450.70 with a target of 1%. If none of them are hit and we have a position, then we take the closing price on Friday. The max Y for the weekly expiry is 455 for CE at 45,317 and 430 for PE at 24,834, which is, we can see the PE has gone up from last week and the CE has gone down from last week, which is bullish. And our weekly PCR is 2.95. The max OI for the monthly expiry is 440 for CE at 72,202 and 420 for PE at 128,765, which is the same. And our PCR is 2.25. And the weekly trend currently is up, and the monthly trend is also currently up. But of course, that is always subject to change. But that concludes our video today and my prediction for SPY. And I'll see you next time. And if there are any relevant changes to this prediction, they will be covered on the channel. But for the most part, this is all. Thank you for watching and enjoy.